Hello everyone, I am Swarnima Verma from Trio Teachers and I am currently pursuing mechanical engineering at BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus. So, firstly, the basic objective of our educational startup is that teaching can help us to unlock a student's learning. In turn, this can also help to have new experiences and discover more. There are many ways of unlocking students' potential, and teachers often help to adapt their methods accordingly. Today, there are many ways to connect with the students, including the use of technology and collaborative learning. And even there is a need of it because of ongoing situation due to this pandemic. Thus, the world is now changing at a faster rate in the terms of technology, and as a result, it is affecting the education pattern too. And to cope up with this evolving pattern, along with the challenge to deal with this deadly virus, we need to change ourselves too. Thus, to discuss the role of teachers in 21st century, especially in this time, we have Manas Patnaik sir with us. So please tell us something about you. It will be pleasure listening to about you.
So good afternoon, everyone, and this is going to be a wonderful session. And good afternoon, Swarnima. I'm
Afternoon,
sure
sir.
this is going to prove to be very beneficial for all the students watching this. Um, well, people call me as the savior of engineering drawing. First of all, let me say that. I'm Manas Patnaik. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I've also done MTech in CAD/CAM robotics. So I am very familiar with drawings and stuff. Anyway, I finished my engineering in the year 2009, and then since then, I was initially looking forward to do a job in the industry, in power plants, but somehow I got dragged into this profession of teaching, and this was a very good drag. Let me tell you very frankly, and I love this profession absolutely. And since day one, I have developed an inclination towards teaching, and I've already always tried to take teaching to the next level. Day by day, kept on hard working a lot. And how many years? From 2009, and this is 2021. So I used to teach in a private college until 2018. I finally decided that I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to focus on YouTube first of all, and then also develop parallel avenues from where sort of income can be generated. To be quite honest, but that's very essential. Why do you study?
Yes,
The
sir.
question is very blunt. Why do you study? You just need to make money, to be very frank. Okay.
Yes.
But at the same time, you need to ensure what are you imparting. You need to impart quality. And when you impart quality, you are going to go high. People are
Yes,
going
sir.
to join you and good things are going to happen. Ultimately, the main point is you've got to be patient and you have to keep working hard and you need to keep changing yourself. And I guess
Yes,
that
sir.
is very important.
Yes, sir.
Change is the only constant, as I say.
So,
Okay, so that was about me.
okay, so as we all know that we have a motto that students will get to know more about the general topics such as importance of tests, its analysis, and also about digitalization in the field of education. So, sir, how do you think that these things are important as per the changing pattern of education?
Look, tests have been very important right from when this education revolution started. Tests have been very important. Now, my thinking of a test is a bit different. I prefer to take oral tests. I used to ask students and get their responses. That way they can develop confidence also, not just written test, but oral tests are also quite important and they should be given importance. Now, especially tests are not there is going to be a test of 1 hour and the students know that. No, nothing of that sort. When you are teaching in a class, let's say a bunch of 30 or 40 students, you need to make sure you have to have eyes on each and every one of them.
Yes, sir.
You need to keep asking them. Whatever you are teaching, you've got to be very sure that each and every student is being communicated in the same manner as what you're thinking.
Yes, sir.
In that process of teaching, you need to ask them questions very normally, very casually. so that when they answer, they develop the confidence. This is something which has happened with me also. If I am confident with a particular topic and a teacher asks me a certain questions about that, and if I'm able to answer that question, the confidence level rises.
Yes, sir. That
Right?
happens.
So
Yes,
it
sir.
is the responsibility of a teacher to make sure that the confidence level of each and every student keeps on gradually rising. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
this is how I gauge what testing is. Number one. Secondly, as far as written tests are concerned, they should be conducted periodically. Well, look, what happens, like we used to study mathematics, let's say. Okay, so in your first semester there are 10 chapters, second semester there are 10 chapters, and in third semester also there are 10 chapters. So when you finally reach third semester, you have the load of first and second semester also, because some chapters will be coming from there also.
Yes,
So
sir.
there is a huge load, and in that huge load you need to cram up a lot of things, not just mathematics. If you study literature also, history also, science also, so this is all about cramming stuff. What I prefer and how I gauge students is a chapter wise gauging. If you finished a particular topic or a particular chapter, take a test immediately to understand which students are performing better. And if there are certain students who need some more attention, then give it to them. No problem. So periodical evaluation of students is very important, because we all have different kinds of brains. Some students
Yes, sir.
are able to, some students have, what do you say, a bigger
Grasp
hard disk.
easily. Grasp easily. They grasp easily.
Yes, and a bigger hard disk and a very good RAM, I should say. Some students
Yes,
have
sir.
a smaller hard disk and not an efficient RAM, right? So if we conduct tests periodically after one chapter, small tests, then they will be able to perform better, and their confidence level again will gradually rise. And this is what a teacher needs to see always, whether the confidence level of student is going up or down, and that's quite important. Okay, so these periodical tests are going to really help you. And a lot of students I've seen, they don't prefer giving tests. So whenever there is a test, they would say, sir, I'm ill, I won't be able to take the test. And they'll be giving some certain reasons. They might be justified also, but most of the cases they're not justified. So I want them to join the battle, to become a soldier, to fight the battle. And I'm sure whenever they become victorious, their confidence level again, I always say, would increase. That's the main point, to increase the confidence level.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That was my evaluation.
That's true. So, sir, after listening to you this much, so we are eager to know that what is all about your journey. Tell us something about your journey. That how you came
My
into
journey.
yeah, sir, how you came into this teaching line and why you adapted this, what all challenges you
Okay.
faced. Yes, sir, all that.
Look, my journey can be split into two parts. The first
Okay.
journey is when I used to teach in a college. And first of all, as I said, I passed out in the year 2009. Now, I got into teaching, right? Okay, I was looking forward to a job and I got into teaching. I got very inclined to this profession. Let me tell you very honestly, I used to prepare a lot. I mean, you won't believe, for the first 3 to 4 years of this profession, for a lecture of 1 hour, I used to prepare for 2 to 3 hours beforehand.
Impressive.
Whenever I went to the classroom, I wanted to make sure that my lecture flows like water, absolutely water. I don't have to refer any book, nothing of that sort. I just wanted to make sure that I'm an actor and I'm in a theater to perform. That was my mantra. That is exactly how I used to work. And these things really helped me a lot for making videos as well. So time passed by, and then it was in the year 2016 or 17. I don't remember that very well. I just thought one thing. Look, the profession of teaching is very, very demanding these days.
Yes, sir,
And
that's true.
in tier 2, tier 3 cities, the kind of pay that you get from engineering colleges, let me tell you very frankly, it's very demotivating. So you have to do something. You have to do something else. So I was already taking tuition classes of engineering drawing. I'm quite popular in my city regarding this subject. So each student used to come to me, Okay, that was I mean that was one way of generating a parallel income. But something else has to be done. My dreams were big. Let me tell you very frankly. I wanted to make it big. I wanted to reach as many students as I can. So here was a challenge in front of me. Go to YouTube, post your first video, and posting your first video is the biggest challenge. Let me tell you, people hesitate a lot, and
Yes, sir.
so I did. Okay, I posted my first video, and then nothing happened. Where there were very less views, and but gradually in a year or so, the first video that I posted got somewhere around 5,000 to 10,000 views, and a lot of people were writing to me that, sir, please make more videos on more chapters.
So
And that's
that,
why I was motivated. And
yeah.
during those days, there wasn't enough mobile device connectivity. So I mean, the time I started, there wasn't even Geo, I guess.
Okay,
So
sir.
the only watchers of your channel were through broadband or who had Wi-Fi in their homes.
Yeah, true, sir.
So, I mean, what I mean to say is that the reach was very low, but gradually internet connectivity has improved 10 to 100 times, I would say, in India. It has from cities into villages, everywhere there is internet, you would find now, and that has really helped me quite a lot.
Okay,
And initially I used to make videos in Hindi. So students said to me, sir, I mean, Hindi is not universal, you know.
Yeah.
Each and every part of India, people don't speak Hindi. But if you're an engineering student, you must understand English. Then I thought let's do it one way. I would be making all the videos in English. And year after year, it took me almost two and a half years to complete this one subject of engineering drawing. Now it's absolutely complete. All the chapters have been dealt, and I'm sure that it's going to be helping a lot of students, lakhs and lakhs of students. In fact, they keep on messaging me either through the comment section of YouTube or through Facebook. Yes, a lot of time has passed by, a lot of hard work has been put in. I mean, there are as many as 180 videos on engineering drawing, and I am sure that it has helped a lot of students.
Yes,
Just by
sir.
reading their comments, I can understand that very well.
Yeah, sir. In fact, I am also a mechanical student from first year. So I refer to your videos for AutoCAD drawing and graphics. Okay. They are really helpful, sir. They are really a savior for us. Sometimes some of the concepts we are unable to understand, and your videos really help us. So, sir, one more question. So,
okay, I'll be very helpful to you in the second year also.
Sir, we don't know the curriculum for the second year. So, for the first year, we watch your videos, and that is really helpful, too much effective for us.
So, Swarnima, you happen to in BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I've got a lot of students who are personally connected to me from BITS Pilani main campus in Rajasthan, I guess.
Okay, sir. Sir, so how
that
do
was
you?
My journey. This is how it will begin.
Okay, sir. So, how do you associate your role of being a teacher with digitalization? Means how much importance does it hold for you as you stream a lot on YouTube? So, digitalization is one of the weapon for your success. So, how will you describe that?
Digitalization.
Yes, sir.
So digitalization and teaching, right? So, I mean, digitalization and teaching are like the two wheels of a bicycle, right? Look, so when I initially started teaching, so what do you see people around teaching with chalk and board? That was a kind of teaching.
Yes, sir.
The aspect of digitalization comes. So this subject only, I'm very fortunate to be teaching this subject initially in my career, engineering drawing. I started also with teaching on a green board through chalks using different colors and try to make sure that I can draw the best possible drawing on the board. But as time went by, I thought this is taking way more time. It's time consuming to draw each and everything on board. And literally, I can say this with full confidence that I can make any drawing of any curve, of any section, of any solid on the board. I can do that, right? Now, but that was taking some time. So I thought, and there is a very good friend of mine, Narendra Yadav, Mr. Narendra Yadav, and he taught me how to use AutoCAD. All the basics and tools he taught me. So I used to spend a lot of time with him, asking him questions that, sir, how do we need to draw an arc and stuff like that. They used to help me a lot. And that really helped me to save on time. And this was the first step towards digitization, using AutoCAD. I used to teach with a projector on. I used to teach using AutoCAD engineering drawing. All those projection of solids, projection of lines, all those chapters. I used to make all the drawings on AutoCAD. I can zoom in anytime I want, because when you're teaching on board, the student sitting at the back cannot see properly. Let me tell you very honestly. But when you teach via projector, and then you just need to scroll the mouse, and you can zoom in and zoom out whenever you want to, right? When two lines are very close to each other. So all of these things can be implemented quite well. This was my first step towards digitization. Now, this went on, and I thought, how about animating stuff? Then I started learning about PowerPoint, because whenever you do a drawing in AutoCAD, you have to repeat the entire process. So how about making a PowerPoint presentation with a certain animation? You just need to click on buttons and automatically the drawing keeps on happening sequentially.
Yes, sir.
So this was the second step towards digitization. Animating all the drawings. So all the drawings which I had made on AutoCAD, I somehow managed to get them animated on PowerPoint. Look, in between all of these things, teaching through AutoCAD, teaching through PowerPoint, there has been a lot of learning on my part. And my colleagues have been very good helping me in that aspect. So these were, I mean, this is my point of view as far as digitization and teaching goes. And then after that, I've learned a lot. I mean, I don't know, you're a mechanical engineer, but right now you're in first year. Had you been second or third year, you would have understood the concept much more better. There is a subject called kinematic of machines and mechanisms of machines. It's also called mechanisms of machines. It's a very popular subject. And there you need to deal with the velocity and acceleration analysis of linkages, mechanisms, and stuff like that. So when we used to be taught, when we were students, the teacher used to teach all of this on a board, and it was very difficult to make those drawings because it's completely graphical aspect. Once I understood the use of AutoCAD, how to use PowerPoint presentation, I made all those drawings, all those animations on PowerPoint. Again, you just need to click on buttons. I used to just click on buttons and give the commentary. And this is how I made my videos. You can also watch them on my channel, Kinematics.
Yes, sir.
So yes, this was how I embarked on digitization.
Okay, sir. So, sir, as we all are going through this pandemic, we all are facing it a lot, especially in India, the condition is very much critical. Yeah. So, how do you think that inculcating skills into a student through a digital platform is a challenge for teachers, especially during this time where everything is too much critical? The situation is not too good for everyone to pursue their connectivity and all that. you know, teaching has become one of the most challenging professions these days, especially in this pandemic time. And let me be honest, there are plenty of teachers, hundreds and thousands of teachers on YouTube right now. But you have to be, you know, there is a saying that you have to be at the tip of the iceberg. Same is the case. There are so many teachers around, you have to make your mark. Again, there is a bit of luck involved and there is a lot of hard work involved. First of all, hard work comes, and with hard work, with patience comes luck. You need to keep working. That's all I can say right now, because you never know when one of your videos will come up automatically. You never know that. You need to keep working on it. And it's a big challenge for teachers also. I mean, teachers need to first of all understand that there are a lot of tools which are in the market right now. First of all, they need to be made aware that these are the tools that you can use. For example, a teacher who is teaching mathematics, there is GeoGebra. There is GeoMOS calculator, which these people can use. For a teacher who is teaching geometry, there are so many softwares which you can install directly through Play Store, and then you can make videos on them.
So many things are there. First of all, there is one step, and that is being aware of the stuff around you. There is a lot of free stuff. You don't have to even purchase anything. There is a lot of free stuff available in the market, right? By market, I mean to say the Play Store. Okay, or even you can download the software also. There is a lot of free stuff available. Just be aware of the stuff happening around you. You see people how they are teaching. You can take inspiration from that, and then develop your own content based on that. This is something which has helped me also. I've seen a lot of people doing stuff. I've taken inspiration from that. I've even asked them, how do you do this? They tell me, this is how we run it. Right? A lot of people ask me how I make videos on PowerPoint, how I edit my videos, and I have no problem in sharing that. And this is how, with sharing, the knowledge always increases.
Yes,
We get
sir.
better as a society. And this
Yes,
is what
sir.
exactly what everyone, every teacher rather, should do. Just be aware of all the stuff and tools which are around you. That's it.
Yes, sir. So that's true, sir. So, sir, so what should the students should do in this hard time to cope up with their studies, as this situation is getting too much harsh, and teachers, as you said, that teachers should know about the different tools present there, different softwares present there which can help them. So what should students do to cope up with their studies?
Students.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
First of all, studying is something which comes with interest. If you develop an interest in a particular subject, then only you can do well in that. Number one.
Yes, sir.
Let's say you are a student and right now you don't have to go to college. You just are attending your classes, right? This is what is happening. Okay. Let's have a discussion, Swarnima. So I guess you are at home,
Yes,
okay, or
sir.
in the hostel, and
Yes, sir.
you are attending. How many classes do you attend daily?
Sir, well, as everyone is aware that BITS has a 0% attendance policy, we are not restricted to attend those classes.
Okay.
But I do attend many of those classes just because there should not be any backlog with me, just to cope up with the backlog, because backlogs may
Okay.
create a problem for me in the upcoming times.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Look, the way I studied was to identify the tougher subjects.
Yes, sir.
Every semester, like we had almost 6 subjects. So we used to identify which subjects are tougher. We used to ask our seniors, which one is tougher? So in a particular semester, someone would say fluid mechanics and mechanics of solids. These are the 2 tougher subjects. Make sure that you devote enough time to them. Then in the next semester some would say that dynamics of machine happens to be a tougher subject. Make sure that you devote enough time to it. Subject identification is quite important, especially when the examination is on, right? It's not that you have to devote a constant amount of time to each and every subject, but whichever subject is hard, like machine design, let's say, so you have to devote sufficient time. Not just the teaching that you are getting online from your teachers. You have to study from other resources also. You're free to study from other resources. I mean, knowledge is everywhere. You just need to find the right tap to source that knowledge. So try to make a list. Try to list all the subjects which chapters are tougher. So whatever knowledge you are being given by your professors of your college, well and good, no problem, go ahead. And I'm sure you guys must be taught by some very good teachers.
Yes, sir.
From India. But apart from that, you can also use the internet. You can use YouTube to surf a lot of content also. Okay, but that has to be done beforehand. Once your semester starts, and then you have to communicate with your friends also. Someone might give you a very good recommendation of a XYZ teacher who can help you with that subject. And this is how the 21st century teaching is evolving. A lot of teachers are coming into the picture, and you've got a lot of options. And you guys are very lucky that you have access to some brilliant content, and that too free of absolute cost.
Okay, sir. So, what is the importance of visualization? As we all know that science, engineering, especially the mechanical engineering, is all about how do students visualize? How do we visualize the shapes, lines, traces, machinery parts, and all that? So, how much challenging it is for you to make the students visualize, especially with the digital platform?
Visualization.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one thing as far as mechanical, let's try to connect mechanical engineering with science. And when I say science, I mean to say physics, because mechanical engineering is all about applying the principle of physics to make equipments and devices. This is one simple way of defining mechanical engineering. And let's say for the betterment of society, using the principle of physics, applying them to make devices or equipments for the betterment of society, right? There is betterment of society going on, but there is a lot of what do you say, ecosystem deterioration also, right? So we are digging in, we are extracting iron ore. There is a lot of stuff going on right now which is not ethical, I would say, because that is really harming our environment. Anyway, that is a different aspect. Let us talk about mechanical engineering and science and education. Okay. Look, visualization. When I say visualization, we've been learning since a very small age. So I'm sure that that a lot of this is absolutely my experience, that a lot of times I had to mug up stuff. I had to learn and remember all of that stuff. I was absolutely not interested in understanding what is going on. For example, in class 12th, I guess I learned cyclotron. There was a device called cyclotron. Okay, there was something to bombard particles and stuff like that. So we just learned the concept. Okay, we were not much interested in what was going on. We saw, okay, this was the diagram and that was the derivation. That's all. When you say visualization, you have to be absolutely sure about what is going on. When you say visualization, you should be able to explain the particular concept to a different student. And when you can explain something in a very simplified manner to others, that's when I would say that you have understood the concept very well. And that's when I would say that you're visualizing it properly. That's very important. This is something that I understood when I became a teacher, because as a teacher, it is my responsibility to make sure that whatever knowledge I have is being communicated to all my students in a very simplified and a very casual manner, right? So whenever you talk about visualization, first of all, you as a teacher, you should be able to visualize that properly inside your brain.
Yes.
And then you've got to make sure that your students also are fine-tuned in the same fashion. That's very important. Now, visualization can be done. Some of the teachers are so good with a piece of chalk and board that they make their students visualize everything in a classroom. Now, if you're not good with chalk and board, you can use your laptop. You can use three-dimensional diagrams, three-dimensional softwares. I've also, in this entire course, this entire journey of mine, I've also came across softwares like SolidWorks, softwares like CATIA. There you can make 3D models. And these things really help you make these students visualize in a proper manner. I mean, you guys are 21st century students. You guys believe more in audio, video content than just textual content. So based on your learning patterns, we teachers have to adapt. And that is how I go about my task. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, as you said, that your ideology is change is the only key for change is the constant. So, should be kept a constant. So, we also know that a good teacher is a good learner. So, what are your views regarding it?
Exactly. Just like I said
yes,
a few
sir.
minutes before, If you're a good teacher, you first of all need to train your brain, and you should be very critical about what you study. Whenever you are learning something, either through a book or watching any videos or something like that, you need to keep on consistently asking questions, and you have to answer those questions also. Asking good is not enough. So when you are able to do this, I mean, questioning, answering, this really trains your brain in a better fashion. Okay, because whenever you teach that same constant concept to a student, he might ask you questions. So you should be able to be answer him in a very justified fashion. That's very important. Learning for a teacher is is primary. First of all, once he can learn and inculcate that concept, he should be able to deliver it to their students also. Okay, so as a teacher, because I've seen there were certain teachers I was being taught by, they used to come to the class, and they used to even open their books, they used to write those equations, they used to make diagrams by watching the book only. That kind of teaching is not really appealing, let me tell you very frankly. You go to a classroom without absolutely nothing. I used to go to my classroom with a laptop because I used to use projector a lot. I had my digital content. If I'm not with a laptop, then I am simply with a piece of chalk. Okay, I have everything in my mind, and I used to write equations, make diagrams, and that way your confidence level as a teacher also grows compoundingly. And students also respect those teachers. Let me tell you very frankly. Okay, so first of all, your concept has to be very crisp. You should be able to deliver the same concept in a very simplified manner to each and every student present in the class. That's it. That's it. Learning is very important for the teacher as it is for the student.
Okay, sir. So now, so for the last question, I would like to ask you, sir, how will you explain your ideology? What the ideology which you follow? How? Please explain it to us.
My ideology.
Yes, sir.
My ideology. That is something. How can I explain this? Look. Look. Things are going to happen in your life, my life, and in each and everybody's life. Your life should have problems.
Yes.
And you, as a person, as a human, you should be confident enough to take up those problems and find solutions. This is one philosophy I have to work with. If you have no problems in your life, then you are not on the right path. You should be ready to struggle. When there is struggle, there is success. And when you get success after that struggle, the confidence level increases compoundingly. Let me tell you very frankly. You know, the day I got my first 100 subscribers, I was very happy. Even more happy than the day I got my 1 lakh subscribers. Because those 100 people really gave me the confidence. Right? So this is exactly how I work. Again, you have to be patient and you need to keep working hard. And let me tell you something. You have to believe in yourself. But believing simply is not enough. You need to keep on improving also. You need to make sure that day after day, your skills are improving. And there is nobody to judge you. You yourself will be judging you. That am I getting better or not? You should be able to understand that. And if you are getting better, then trust me, today, tomorrow, or after 10 days, after a month or a year, you are going to definitely taste success. That's my mantra. So keep working on it, be patient, and keep on improving. Once you keep on improving, good things are going to happen with you. That's it.
Oh, okay, sir. So let's end this. It's almost a long time. So it was really nice talking to you, sir. The way you portrayed the responsibilities of a teacher and also the different aspects of teaching and learning, that was all really great. Whether it be your journey or the ideology you follow, we learned great things from you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Swarnima, for inviting me, for having me with you. It was an amazing session.
Okay, sir.
Had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.